Right, so what's in your energy today? Okay, so your spirit team want you to know that you've got some energies in your energy field that are shocked that you've chose healing. Okay, you could have known these people for years. There is a romantic slant to this, but we've also got family out here. So it could be both or one or the other, or, put it where it fits. You're now stepping into Empress status if you're not already there, and you're protected. And I think people are receiving instant karma for playing in your energy. There was a time that this wasn't happening because you were in this energy. You were sacrificing your healing. That's why the star's upside down, for the sake of the other. And the other was giving you illusions and toxicity. And the illusions is upside down because you're not accepting illusions anymore. But there was a time you were, I don't know if you were believing, but maybe for the sake of ease, you were accepting the thin veneer on top of this toxicity, or maybe it was your own love was disguising it in some ways, but that's no longer. You see the truth. Okay, and you've set boundaries with these energies, but boundaries come up sideways. So I do feel like I could be tapping into someone that's still learning about boundaries, or it's new, or spirit's asking you to be wary about your falling back into this sacrificial energy where you don't choose your healing. You do listen to the thin veneer that's on the surface, just out of habit, trauma, hope, something like that. I think maybe spirit, potentially not for all of you, because we have got the clarity and truth card out here, and there's truth here, so I think you do see it, but there's something of that. Your twin flame card came upside down, so I believe your twin flame or high level soulmates or whatever the romantic situation was you were in didn't ascend. They essentially, you could describe it as fallen, but they didn't ascend. They didn't choose healing. They wanted to stay where they were, and you've turned your back on that. That's why it's upside down. It doesn't have the impact it once did. Now that you've chose to stop this sacrificial energy and step into your right path, which is here, and your right path is bringing you abundance and your dreams. Okay, the person that you left behind couldn't offer you commitment or passion, and if they did, it wasn't, I'm hearing it wasn't good enough. You had to get through some heartbreak to do with this. And if it's not a twin flame high level soulmate, it's definitely an ex. But this heartbreak is now with them. You've healed your heart for the most part. Maybe you have echoes of it, but I don't think you see this person as your true love, the way you once did, at least, because it's upside down. So I think you gained a new perspective, but ironically, the new perspective you've gained, which is putting you on the right path away from this energy, which was ultimately toxic for your energy or your healing, they are now experiencing the heartbreak and gaining this new perspective and wanting to give you an apology. You could be, and that they're doing their best to fill their voids. You could be having a lot of alone time at the moment, whilst you're in this, walking this right path and gaining this abundance. It could be money, but it also could just be your well-being, your health, your happiness, something like this. But I could be stepping into you could be stepping into alone time, or I could be tapping into somebody who's doing that or is going to be doing that. And don't see it as like, oh, well, I'm all alone. You're not lonely, you're alone, and the spirit and divine has likely set that up so you can go down this right path properly. And if there's any sort of residue left over of you being this sacrificial energy, perhaps that's why. It's to sort of get it out of your system, so energies like this can't come along and you sort of put your healing to the side and give this sacrificial energy over, particularly a twin flame. I don't think your spirit team, angels, guides, whatever your belief system is, wants that to happen for you. This person is shocked, or people are shocked, and it could be family as well. This was making you unhappy. That's a Leo sign, the sun. Maybe it's shocking you actually how much misery or unhappiness you were actually standing in, or being around. But these people are shocked that you chose yourself. They did not believe you would. You possibly hadn't been doing it for years. But they thought you were fake letting them go, but they know that you're not now. They know that they didn't provide any safety for you, and that could be physically, but I'm feeling more emotional safety. They were toxic for your frequency. Does it mean that they are toxic to everybody and anybody? No, because they might meet people with exactly the same frequency as them and they have a jolly time. But for your frequency, where you're moving into the right path and a divine path, you don't need people around that don't truly love you, only loving you at a surface level or a performative level that doesn't contribute to your healing. I'll move here, Spirit. And also, I'm also hearing it's better for them too, because if they're playing in people's energy that work for the divine and working with unconditional love, it doesn't bode well for them. So you removing yourself, or however the divine set it up, where they remove themselves, whichever way it was, it's for the best, because when you're working with the divine, the karma is instant, and you may have been witnessing this and you may not have really enjoyed that either, because you do have an unconditional loving heart. Yeah, they want to return. It's landed on top of there, and that's the X with the apology. Yeah, they were blind to you when you were in their energy. Now they want to be caring and give you like it says teddy bear, but I instantly feel like cuddly side. Perhaps you never saw a side like that to them, or if you did, it was performative, or if you did, it was barely or something. But that's the energy that they're in. Anything else, spirits, for the highest good of all and God's will? Messages for the collective. I just did see I love you. This person replays your conversations over and over. So if you find yourself that happening to you, because it did land on you, but I didn't feel like it was your energy, I think it could be coming into your energy, especially if we're talking about a twin flame. Even if you have turned your back, even if you have ascended and they have not, you do have a link. You're together. It's a divine connection. So just be mindful of that. If all of a sudden you sort of remember a conversation, or it could be something quite trivial, and you're sort of like, where's that coming from? It's a sign that it could well be something to do with that. But we've got the clarity card out again, so I think I'm just telling you something you already know. But Spirit does like to repeat things. Okay, so tell me more about that, please, Spirit, for the highest good of all. I think this person or people, because we have got family here, but this feels a bit more romantic, but they can translate, over and with each other. I think this person might have been very much like their terms and conditions. So the biggest part I feel is they felt like they definitely didn't want to offer you any fidelity. They enjoyed that lifestyle. And again, if it's not romantic, it's, just honouring the connection and, being decent, respectful or something. But they also didn't want to show you love. And if they did, it wasn't what was suited to you. But at the same time, I'm hearing it was a bit of a bluff, because they do, they do, they're in heartbreak, and you can only be in heartbreak if you actually love someone. So they do love you, but they just didn't think you were going to cut them out. That's why they're shocked. So they didn't think you would choose yourself. Yeah, they were blind to that. It keeps showing they were blind, possibly to your strength. The strength you have to choose yourself. Maybe there was a time that you didn't think you would either, but the divine stepped in and helped you. Yeah, I love you. And that was flashing out. Oh, and, for some of you, you might not feel like, you don't love them. But I think you possibly do, but you just know that you love yourself more. You know that you want to go down the right path, and that doesn't involve having this energy in your in your orbit. It would interrupt your healing. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, for the highest good of all. And essentially, they weren't making you happy because the sun is upside down. Another abundance card here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this person sees you as abundant. You were the best thing in their life. You know, you don't realise what you have until it's gone. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, in God's will. The highest good of all. Yeah, they were in heart fog about this. I love you unconditionally now. I think if it's a twin flame and you've ascended, you know, I'm sure there's part of you that also, you know, does love them. In that maybe it's not romantic anymore. Maybe it's platonic. You know, like, but you know, you don't. You know, hate and love are not too far apart. You know, like people like to think it's the opposite, but it's not. Indifference is the opposite of love. So I would be surprised if you're indifferent. Yeah, so they were sending you mixed signals, but they were also confused. They're not confused now. They're not confused. They're clear about it, yeah. Presently, they're very aware of their own toxicity. They're very aware that you are their abundance. You know, maybe they put money before you or other things before you, but they understand who you are now in a way that they weren't before. And they also know that you're not fake letting them go. Maybe this was hot and cold and you did eventually come back and stuff like that. They know. They've got the perspective that this is different now, and it's because they weren't a divine masculine. They're a divine masculine upside down, twin flame card upside down, and you simply can't work with that. And perhaps you were doing your best to work with it, and you were getting your heart broken in the process, and you had to keep healing, and then eventually you decided not to sacrifice yourself for the connection and choose yourself, and Spirit's made that abundantly clear and is going to give you abundance. You know, whatever that looks like for you. Yeah, this person wanted to be lead a colourful life, let's call it that. Yeah, and now they're drowning in a colourful sea. It's very colourful. But they're drowning in it because your love is gone. Okay, and it's not that it's gone, but you're not. You were there. They could feel your energy. They can't feel, because it was a sacrificial energy that you were holding. You're not holding that anymore. Not for a divine masculine upside down. Yeah, they know that time is up. Yeah, so they want to stop hiding behind the material. This person could have been quite materialistic, quite 3D based, quite matrix orient, that 3D matrix orientated, you know, like wanting to impress people but don't even like the people that they're trying to impress, you know, that sort of like that sort of energy, and they were stuck in that loop. And I think it's very likely now that you've cut them out and chose yourself and the divine are helping you carry on that right path, they're starting to recognize the kind of things that they've chosen, and it wasn't really it's kind of an illusion. You know, like, they don't, yeah, party was upside down. Excuse me, that's the truth. Yeah, time's up on this. And they know it. Yeah, you chose self-love. Instead of sacrificing yourself for something that was never going to give you what you needed. I'll go here. But they didn't think you would do that. You didn't give indications of that. Yeah, you're much stronger now. You protect yourself. Nine of Wands. They know you're guarded. They know you're not going to give them a cup of love. Not like this. Not as an upside down divine masculine. I'll put it where it fits. It doesn't matter about gender. You're choosing your own abundance, and that doesn't mean it has to be, you know, it's your abundance all round. Yeah, and now they're burdened. The burden they gave you, they're now carrying, but it's probably heavier for them because they're a Knight of Wands. You were always an Empress is under there. It's very strong, very strong. You stayed around for this situation for too long, and again, if it's family, it's the same, but, you know, put it where it fits, like translate it so it makes sense. Messages for the collective, please, and the highest good of all. I saw the Empress flash out again as confirmation. Yeah, so I'm just being brought to protected here and protected here, healing. Perhaps part of your abundance is that you are protected from these energies, protected from falling into sacrificial energy. Maybe that's why some of you might be being advised to have some alone time, possibly protected from this King of Wands. Although they didn't really feel like they were a King of Wands, it was more of a Knight of Wands, but perhaps they should have been a King of Wands or an Emperor. Yeah, this person isn't strong, but they're restless. Okay, so they present themselves like a King of Wands, you know, confident, ambitious, energetic, presumably, like, all looks good on the 3D flesh, but if they're either not strong or they've got no spiritual strength. I wouldn't be surprised if their spiritual strength has been taken away from them because of them dabbling into their toxic, lower vibrational ways for so long, rather than following spirits or, you know, the divine, their intuition. But they want to come in. They're restless now. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, in God's will. The highest of all. I think you're learning to balance this new energy that you're in. And it can take some time. That's maybe why the alone time is out there. Yeah, you've got 10 of Pentacles, 3 abundance cards and 10 of Pentacles, and Queen of Pentacles. I mean, your cards are good. Yeah, this is behind you, this 10 of Swords. That's where you were, and you're now at the 10 of Pentacles, 3 abundance cards. Spirit's gifting you. The divine is gifting you for choosing yourself over this union with the upside down divine masculine. Yeah, it was divine judgment. It possibly wasn't easy for you, but I'm also hearing for some of you it could have just happened all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean? Like one day you woke up and you're like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. But it took you a long time to get there, possibly, you know, like you know, your heart wasn't broken on Tuesday and then on Thursday you woke up and decided to get over it. Yeah, this is all this toxic energy is over for you. You're not at this vibration. You were never at this vibration. That's why it was impacting your healing, and that's why the divine wanted you to go down a different path and set up your boundaries. But I'm being brought here, just the boundaries are sideways. Just be careful that this person doesn't come rushing in because they're restless, and recognize that they do love you when they've still got this low vibrational energy attached to them, and you might be hoping that they don't, you know, like they've had a full awakening. I did see 2 of Cups upside down. Yeah. Yeah, the High Priestess is upside down. I think I could be tapping into somebody that spirits may be slightly concerned that you would disregard your healing and your intuition for the name of love, even though you know this person could just take you out of this 10 of Pentacles and put you in the 10 of Swords and heartbreak. Exactly, Star upside down. Spirit's concerned about this. They know that they know them coming through is going to put you at the crossroads, but this message is to let you know that your intuition and your healing will be halted. Doesn't mean it completely stops, but you would just have to encounter another karmic lesson, and it would more than likely bring you to the 10 of Swords again and the 3 of Swords, which is something you've come out of. And this person can't give you anything else because that's where they are. They can't give you something they don't have. Messages, yeah, you just be healing, and you are healing, but you're on the right path, whereas you'll be healing their karma in some ways. Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, and God's will for the highest good of all. And the 2 of Cups upside down. You just be constantly in this 2 of Cups up down, like arguments, then having to heal arguments, and it will impact your vibration, it will impact, then you'll have to do some soul searching, then you'll find your independence again, then you'll feel like the relationship's faded, then you'll just go round and round, heartbreak. So Spirit's just warning you. Maybe there's something, you know, like you have maybe some trauma in your background, and this is familiar. This new energy isn't familiar. The smell of flowers and roses, it's gorgeous, but you don't know it. The way you know this, maybe, you know, like the city, there's, you know, there's grits and smells, and, you know, like, it's not roses. Yeah, but you do have, you're going to have victory over this, but I think for some of you, it's just a nudge in case. In case. This person would always want to be the Queen of Wands, even if they're a man. They want to be the dominant one. They want to be the centre of attention. I wouldn't be surprised if they were nervous about you giving you what you deserved and needed, and what they were supposed to do, because then you might outrank them. And of course you would, because the Empress is there, but you're already outranking them. But I feel like and even with the family, but maybe there was something of, well, in their eyes you have enough, like they already feel unsettled by you. So if they were to give you what you deserved, then you would definitely outrank them. Something like that energy. So that's why they didn't give you the love that you deserved, and left you in this healing mode and hermit mode. But the thing that's funny about this is, although they left you here, possibly isolated, or chose things over you, even with family, of people that you considered family, you only got better. You just tapped into your Empress status that you were born with. But I do think I'm dealing with somebody who does have a sort of, that came through quite strongly yesterday, like Mother Mary energy, like putting the other before you, wanting peace. So and that's good. All of those things are good, but it's not above yourself. And I think before you were doing it above yourself, you have to make sure that your peace is for yourself first, yeah, because you will just encounter conflict. Where else do you want me to go, Spirit? Yeah, open hearts upside down. And I don't think for a moment that Spirit or the angels or ancestors are trying to say to you not to have an open heart. You do. You're an Empress. But in these situations that you've let go, you might actually have to, you might almost deem it as toxic. Like you might have to block. You might have to be a bit ruthless and to keep your boundaries up, because your love for these people would have you having them trample all over you all day. And I think it's on an energetic level, and I think that's what was happening. You were laying down for them because you loved them, and and having that kind of energy, it's not, you know, an open heart and loving the other, it's not that it's bad. It was just that it's interrupting your healing and your right path and your abundance, your well-being, and stopping you from tapping into your Empress status that you were born with. Message and your abundance, because it's upside down there. Oh, alignment, which is abundance anyway, isn't it? Messages for the collective, please, Spirit, and God's will for the highest good of all. Yeah, this comes out all the time. I mean, okay, so it says embrace, no. Okay, so don't embrace this. Okay, you've chose nourishment. This person is interested in seduction. Okay, perhaps they're quite charismatic or manipulative, but whatever clothes they wear and make, like, I feel like they might put on a costume, and you're like, oh, you are an emperor, oh, you are a king of wands, and only to find out, no, they haven't done any healing. They just want your energy back, and before you know it, you'll be sacrificing yourself for an energy where you're just gonna have to go round the whole show again, and coming back is flashing out. So messages for the collective, please, Spirit, in God's will. Or a divine feminine. Okay, Empress, Empress, divine feminine. 10 of Pentacles, 3 abundance cards. I mean, no wonder they want to come back. Yeah, and you've got spiritual gifts. This person has spiritual gifts, okay, but they don't use them for the good, or they self-serving. You know, they're not. They have no desire to help others. That's not their energy. They want to help themselves. That's all they're interested in. Yeah, because they're karmic. They've got lessons to learn. You know this. You know this. I think you're just hoping that they'll wake up out of it. And one day they might, but you're not waiting. But it's coming into your energy because you're chosen. You're chosen for this spiritual journey. And they were too, but they didn't want to do it. They wanted to feed their ego. They chose their ego. That's a lot of Spirit. I'll take what's coming up. So Spirit wants you to have no fear. They can't sleep. Leo here. Spirit wants you to know it's okay to wobble. This person doesn't want you to know the truth. They have some jealousy towards you, and they can't control you. They're crying and pretending to be happy. They don't want you to know that truth. Tell me why that was upside down, Spirit. Yeah, the angels look after you. I don't think this person's experiencing karma, but you're not going to witness it because they're pretending to be happy. You know, they cry in the shower and no one knows about it, that kind of energy. They're up at night and they say, oh, they're doing some work, that kind of energy. Yeah, don't worry about this energy. It's coming into your energy because they love you. They love you unconditionally. They want you were there in their energy field. Now they're in your energy field on the periphery, dragging you, dragging your energy, trying to drag your energy down, trying to get those boundaries all the way this way so they can get in, and they're not. They're like this, but Spirit wants it upright. Okay, that's why this message is coming through, because you still have the potential to sacrifice yourself in the name of love. Yeah, this person's selfish and manipulative. You know this. And again, it could be family that were doing this too. Coming back keeps flashing out. Drowning, and that again. Capricorn, which is the devil card. So they're just in their toxic energy. And they're not as awakened as you. It could involve a friend. So we've got friend, family, and twin flame out. But a friend came upside down because these people weren't your friends, yeah, because they were in competition with you. But at the very least, this person can't even be a friend. So if they do come in with that sort of energy of like, let's just be friends. The energy doesn't feel like you should be accepting that. But free will and all of that. Another twin flame card. Jealousy coming out again. So you had to, you were around lots of people with envy and jealousy. Or this person wanted you in that energy. Family coming out. So unfortunately you may have had envious friends and family. But that's just their journey. It's just insecurity. Divine masculine. I did see that flash. What's on the bottom of the deck? Tell me more about that, Spirit. I wouldn't be surprised if this person does get to divine masculine status eventually. But it's because you will be choosing not to stay in that open-hearted sacrificial energy. Not that you're letting it go, but you're choosing where it goes. And you're choosing it for yourself, and the endeavours that you want to pursue, and your hobbies, or Yeah, you had some very low vibrational energy around you because you shine bright. You're tapped into the divine. Tell me more about the divine masculine, please, Spirit. Tell me more. Twin flame. What about it though? They're annoyed. They're annoyed that you're chosen, and they're drowning in that. But this person isn't a divine masculine yet, but I do feel like they will be. But don't wait for this person. I'm hearing you'll be long gone by then. Like you're not, gosh, 333 on the clock when I looked up, I better stop. I feel like for most of you, you're going to feel very platonic about this. And your boundaries will be upright like this. You'll love yourself so much, you won't even entertain a chance of toxicity. And yeah, they might not be in that energy anymore. Yeah, and they won't have this energy of being in competition with you, trying to make you jealous, not giving you what you want, making you suffer, essentially. Could have involved a father, or they are a father. That can, yeah, he's coming back awakened, but I mean, it's free will. I think you won't even know what to say if they come back awakened. And just because someone's awakened doesn't mean that they're the right frequency match for coming back. Awakened, coming back. Tell me more, please, Spirit. Yeah, the angels moved you from this, okay? And yeah, they might not be as cruel as they were, these people, but I don't get good energy off it personally. Even if they they do come back awakened, but the first round they come back in, they're not awakened. But I think if you stick to your boundaries, they'll eventually have to learn, and they will learn, and the divine will teach them, and they'll have to become awakened. Yeah, I'm going to be the man you deserve. I'm going to take that on the floor because I'm always interested. Empress. Well, it's free will and all of that, but please stick to your boundaries and just be aware, you know, just be aware, okay, that they do have low vibrational energies and the angels moved you from this, and make sure you're 100% sure that they are awakened. I feel like the first round of them coming back, no, they're not. They're just in heartbreak. But if you stick to those boundaries and you stick to your Empress status and your right path and your healing, and you choose abundance, your own well-being, they have no choice but to awaken. That's the way it will go. Their toxicity will have to sort of vanish. But don't give up your healing and your intuition yet. Don't ever give it up, but I feel like it's not, when they come back now or soon, they're not awakened yet. Perhaps they're awakening. Yeah, okay, I'll leave that there. Thank you, Archangel Michael. Thank you for being here. Thank you for looking after myself and the collective. Thank you for protecting us. So mote it be.